Today I want to read an Islamic book, a book written by Muslim. The title of this book is King Solomon, Son of David. Look at this picture book. Here is written a picture story from the Quran. So in this picture book, there are two languages, namely English and Indonesian. And I think that this book is very good for young children because by using pictures, it can help visualize the text and storyline, attract attention, not boring, so that our readers, especially children, can more easily understand the stories of the prophets or events that happened in ancient times. But there's but here. What makes me curious in this picture book is its content. Without further ado, let's see the contents of this book. So if you don't understand Indonesian, please read the writing in English and pay attention to this writing that God gave the book of Sabur to David. And this is the Islamic version. I'm not saying that this writing is wrong. Of course, this writing is based on Islamic perspective. If we compare it with David in the Bible, we know that David never received the book of Psalms or the book of Sabur from God. David himself and his friends wrote the book of Psalms or Sabur, meaning the God in the Bible never sent down a book, the book of Torah, the book of Sabur or Psalms, and the book of Gospel. Then pay attention to this writing. What I want to highlight in this writing is the name Absalom, Mikyal, and king of Thalut. Here it is told that Absalom was the son of David, and Absalom's mother's name was Mikyal, who was the daughter of the king of Thalut. And let's compare it with the Bible in 2 Samuel 3. We are informed that Absalom was David's dear son and his wife, Maachah, who was Absalom's mother. Maachah was the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. And we know, right, Geshur in the Bible is an ancient region or kingdom located east of the Sea of Galilee in the southern part of the modern Golan Heights. This region was an independent Aramaic kingdom during the reign of King David and later became part of the half-tribe territory of Manasseh, although its population wasn't completely expelled. Do you think there's a difference? My question here is, where did the author of this book get the information for his writing? Where did the author get the information about Absalom, Mikyal, and King Thalut? The names of these figures, especially the names of Absalom and Mikyal, are not mentioned in the Quran. How can I, as a reader, verify through the information in this book? Is Absalom really David's son and Mikyal, who was the daughter of Thalut? Did David really receive the Psalms or the Sabur? How can I trust this writing? Because there's no evidence to confirm this writing. No reference to original sources. And even the Quran doesn't mention Absalom and Mikyal. So where did the author get the information about David's son, Absalom? If you look at Surah An-Nisa, chapter 163, it is true that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave David the Sabur. In this verse, actually narrating the word book, because the word book is given in brackets. If you don't use the bracket in this verse, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sabur to David, meaning only giving Sabur or Psalms or praises and not giving the book of Sabur or the book of Psalms. There's difference here. I hope you can differentiate the word Sabur or Psalm or praise with the word book of Sabur or book of Psalms or book of praise. The word praise is an expressive act in religion that is done directly, often in the form of singing or speaking, while the word book of Sabur or praise or Psalms is a collection of texts dedicated to praise and worship, often referring to scripture, such as the book of Psalms. So, when we say the book of Sabur or Psalms, or when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the book of Sabur or Psalms to David, then it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the book of Psalms or Sabur in the form of a physical object or written collection that can be clearly seen, read, and touched. When we talk about book of Psalms or Sabur or praise, then we refer to a book or manuscript containing texts of praises. And if we use the word praises, Then the form is an expression of the heart, gratitude, and so on. So there's difference here between the word psalms or sabur or praise and the word book of psalms or sabur or praise. It is necessary to provide a clear explanation or statement in a text to avoid ambiguity and to avoid misinterpretation of the word. Suppose in Surah An-Nisa chapter 163, we use brackets in this verse. We keep use brackets in this verse as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really delivers the psalms or sabur in physical form or an object. So my question are, first, where's the verse that say, I'm David, received the book of psalms or sabur from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The book of psalms or sabur here should be in physical form or an object. Islam have to show the original book of psalms. And the second, how did David receive the book of psalms or the book of sabur in physical form or an object from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the third, when and where did David receive the book of psalms or the book of sabur in physical form or an object from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the fourth, who were the eyewitnesses who saw David receive the book of psalms or the book of sabur in physical form or an object from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Islam must be able to answer these questions. There should be confirmation from other prophets that it was true that David received the book of psalms or the book of sabur in physical form or an object, even though it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who spoke. God's communication through prophets is God's primary way of speaking to humans, and the words received must be confirmed by other prophets or holy traditions to be fully trusted. If God speaks through a prophet, the words must be verified or have support from other prophets or existing traditions to confirm their authenticity. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave David the book of Psalms or the book of Sabur, what is the proof? They answer that the proof is Surah An-Nisa chapter 163, namely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave David the book of Sabur. If so, to prove Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's statements that it is true that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave David the book of Psalms or the book of Sabur, what's the proof? Please Muslims answer my 4 questions above. And we return to discussing Absalom, who was David's son, with his wife Mikyal, and need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only speaks of Solomon, that Solomon is the son of David. Surah said, number 38, verse 30. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never mentions the name Absalom in the Quran. There's not a single verse in the Quran that mentions the names Absalom and Mikyal. But strangely, this book tells about another son of David, namely Absalom, and David's wife, Mikyal, who is the daughter of King Thalut. So, where did the author of this book get the information about the contents of his writing? While it is not told in the Quran, there's not even a source of quotations in this book. How can I, as a reader of this book, trust the information in this book? How can I ensure the information in this book is true? This is a big question mark for me. It is true that not all books use references. Books that do not use references are usually fiction books, such as novels, poetry, short stories. Meanwhile, theses and other non-fiction books must use many references, bibliographies, to maintain credibility, avoiding plagiarism, and also make it easier for readers to trace the source of the information. And what I found in this book is different. There's not a single reference in this book. Then, where did the author of this book get the information about Absalom, Mikyal, and King Thalut? Or, where did the author of this book get the information about David's son, namely Absalom? While this is not written in the Quran. In fact, what is in the Quran is only about the name Solomon, who is also David's son. This is a picture book, and we know that picture books are a genre that uses a combination of text and image to tell stories of named dead children. Picture books are focused on combining text and image to convey stories or information. Or in other words, the content is informative or educational. such as the history of the prophets, can also be in the form of fairy tales. And we know about the prophets are not fairy tales. Okay, that's all for our discussion. Greetings of awareness, greetings of sanity, and may you always be healthy. Thank you.